Welcome to Dexon Photography. My name is Janus Dirksen, and today I have another story of a street photography one-on-one workshop. A couple of months ago, someone from England wrote me and he said he wanted to start a YouTube channel about photography and he wanted to interview me, how I photograph people on the streets. And he came over to Hamburg and he followed me around one day and filmed me while I was talking to people on the streets. He filmed when people said no. He filmed when people said yes, and he made a really interesting interview about it. And I never seen it like this before. How I actually photograph people on the streets, and I've never seen a video that he did out of the day. And I think it's very valuable maybe to you if you want to learn how to photograph people on the streets, get some tips and insights that can help you to doing this. And his YouTube channel is called Wild and Story, and he's just starting now with it. And I recommend you taking a look at his channel. It's a really lovely guy, Alan, and he's not just doing digital photography but also analog photography, and it's really important to him. It was so important to him that he came over to interview me, and I really value that. Usually I'm the one who puts in a lot of energy into a photography project. I've never had it that someone else puts more energy in it than me. And it was really nice to see someone doing something out of passion and because it's important to him, and not because he makes actually money with it right now. Okay, so I walked around Hamburg and he filmed me. And I photographed people on the streets. And then a couple of months later, he wrote me again and said, you know what, I also want to do this too. I went out on the streets in London a couple of times and somehow I got stuck in my head and I didn't talk to anyone. I couldn't photograph anyone. And I know from meeting him that he is not a person that's living inside his comfort zone. He is very much used to get out of his comfort zone, to do stuff that is not easy. That is what he's used to do. And it is strange for him to somehow being stuck and being afraid in a way or not be able to talk to people on the streets. So he came over to Hamburg one more time, and this time it wasn't me who photographed people on the streets, it was him. It was so important to him that when I said I can come to London, but only in the end of June or later, that he said, I cannot wait this long, I need to master this kind of street photography right now. It's so heavy on my emotions and it's so much in my head that I have to master it. I come to you to Hamburg again and you show me how to do it. And so we did. So he came over to Hamburg, and the goal for me is always that that someone who learns from me makes 10 photo shoots a day, no matter the weather, no matter the month, and it doesn't really matter where. It can be any city actually. If there are people, it will work. And so he photographed 13 photo shoots. He did 13 photo shoots, and actually he had one more. But then there was a wedding, and the wedding couple came, and so he didn't do the photo shoot. But actually, he would have gotten 14 photo shoots. He took over 2,200 images that day. And I took some images as well of him taking the pictures. So you see, I show you now some images how you see him taking the pictures, and you see the joy. You see the joy in his eyes doing what he loves. You see the joy in the other person's eye. Now to me, success means giving joy to others. When I see someone laughing and I created that smile, that is powerful. That is a state in which me personally, I don't want to be anywhere else. When I take the camera, I just came from a wedding, and so I have two cameras here. I film with the EOS R-P and I have the 6D Mark II here. I have here the 24mm f1.4, filming at f1.4, so we see if the autofocus actually catches up. And it is really lovely to see the emotions that Alan got out of the other people within a minute. You know, he doesn't know these people, I don't know these people. Alan doesn't even speak German. He is in Germany, in Hamburg, talks to people on the streets, and they agree to be photographed by him. And he does it in such a great manner that it was so fascinating for me to see it. It was at least as special for me being there with him as it was for him being there with me. And I didn't do anything actually. We met in the beginning, we talked about photography, which gear he has. He had the EOS RP that I have also with the 51.2. I took all images with the 51.8, the cheap small lens. We talked about camera settings, how I would shoot it. Then we walked out of the coffee shop and it was 12 o'clock and I said, okay, let's go. And there were two girls sitting there at the stairs and I said, okay, try to talk to them. It's not important that they say yes. What's important is you talk to them. That's the first level to master, talking to many people. If they say yes or no, irrelevant. We are not there yet. First, we have to talk to someone. The first thing you have to do is say hi. Managing to say hi to a beautiful person on the street is a beautiful thing. It shows that you recognize that person. It shows that that person has something special because you chose her or him to talk to. And so even when they say no, they will feel some kind of beauty in them that you chose them as a potential model. So I told him to photograph these two girls and he looked at me and said, please you do it first. So I said, okay, let me do it first. I talked to them, they said yes. Okay, I took the images, 50mm 1.8. At the same place, at the same stairs, there was a couple sitting and she was pregnant. And so I said, okay, you've seen it now. Let's try these two, but now it's your turn. And he talked to them and they said yes. And this is how the day started. And it is so fascinating for me to... Now there's someone who is a grown man, who is not afraid. But somehow, even after months, he doesn't get out of his comfort zone, he doesn't have the habit to talk to people on the streets and photograph them, so he doesn't do it. And just doing or having a coach, I was the coach, but I didn't do anything. I told him it's important that I don't do much, because if I do much now, if I talk to them, if I help you much, then when you're alone in England, it doesn't help you because I'm not there. So it's very important that I don't do anything actually. That I'm not even there with you. I stand over there, somewhere away, and you now have to photograph someone here. If you talk to someone, they say no, get another one. If they also say no, get another one. And so it helps you more if I don't do anything. Just be there and focus. I am there, so you focus on one thing, talking to people on the streets and photographing them. And I was so fascinated by the idea of a coach, because we all have areas where we want to do something and we don't do it. Maybe we want to lose weight and haven't done it in years. And just a coach for one day might help us. Maybe we are single and we want to find some love. Just me photographing people on the streets, I believe anybody can find a beautiful person to be with within a weekend. On the streets, not in the disco. If you go to the disco to meet somebody, you have the world as your competition, and it's not true. You can meet a girl in the disco and say, oh, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, and she will answer, oh, I heard that 3 times already today, even if you meant it real. Whereas when you do it on the streets, there is no competition. Nobody has the courage to talk to strangers on the streets. Everybody goes in the city to buy stuff. Nobody goes in the city to give joy to others. Because nobody does it, everybody will feel nice about you when you actually do it. My goal when I photograph people on the streets, my goal is that these people, when they talk about that day, in the end of the day, when they talk to their parents or friends, whoever, and they say, look what I bought in the city center, I bought new shoes, I bought a new bag, I bought a new jacket, I bought a new camera. Whatever they experience as the most beautiful thing of the day, I want the photo shoot we have, I want that to be the most special thing of the day. I want the experience with me on the streets, I want that to be the most special thing of the day, that when they go home, they don't talk about their new Gucci bag or sweater or camera or lens or jacket or shoes. I want them to talk about the experience with me. That is my goal, that they have an incredible experience and that they talk about it even a week later. Like, you know what happened? There was a photographer who talked to me on the streets. Ah, okay. And what did he want? He wanted to photograph me. Ah, okay. And so did you make up a place to photograph, to meet a day? Yeah, we did. Oh, and when are you going to do it? Oh, we already did. When did you do it? Just right there on the streets, within 2 minutes. That is what I want, that experience and that story. I want the people to have this story to tell. Okay, so coach, I think it's very important to... Now what Alan did was very incredible, I think. He had an area which is very important to him, that is photography, and especially this photographing people on the streets. He has seen me doing it in real life in Hamburg. He has seen probably 10, 20, 50, 100 videos where I did it on all kinds of cities in Europe. So he knew that is possible. But somehow he couldn't do it alone. The great thing he did was he reached out to somebody where he thought that person know how to do it. If I can spend 1 day with him, I probably can learn it too. And he chose me as that person. And so we went out and he did. And it is so fascinating for me to see that someone actually, he took 2,200 images on the first day we did this, and he couldn't take any image month prior to that. And I was thinking about myself, now what is it that I don't get to do? What is it that I postpone? What is important to me that I don't do? I want to write a book. I wrote it in 2013 in my goal book, that I want to write a book about photography in 2013. It's 2019, still haven't done it. I thought if I would be as clever as Alan and ask anybody who I believe has done it already and can help me, where might I be now? A book with an exhibition, a gallery, a photo gallery. That was what I wanted to do, and I'm serious about it. I'm still serious about it, and I might have the inspiration from Alan now to reach out to somebody bigger than me in that area, who is more experienced, just in that field of area, who has done photography exhibitions, who has done photo books successfully. And Alan inspired me. Now another thing, there's another story. This has nothing to do with me or photography. It's just an inspirational story that I picked up some time ago. There's one guy, his name is Charlie. And Charlie had one dream, to be a professional athlete. But Charlie was always overweight. And there was a moment at the lowest part of his life where he looked in the mirror and what he saw was over 300 pounds. And he's younger than me. And at the lowest point, he not only was totally overweight, he also, the doctors found out he had a brain tumor. So confronted with death, he asked, what did I ever want to do, which I actually never did, that is be a professional athlete. And now here's the thing. He had a friend, and that friend helped him. And that friend, that is the coach, that said, we will get you a superpower in sports. And that superpower will be running. And they first go out running. And guess how long he could handle to run? 2 minutes. He says that getting ready to run took longer than actually running. I only could run 2 minutes and that was it. With my body, I couldn't do any more. And he got serious about the idea of running and being a professional athlete. And so he runs more and more, and always with his friend, more and more and more, and then he gets to run a marathon, and then he gets to run another marathon, and then he gets to run another marathon. Still overweight, 3 marathons. And then he prepares for an Ironman. Ironman is what? 2.4 miles swimming, 112 miles bike ride, plus a marathon. So it's 12 to 17 hours. 17 hours if you've never done sport, really, and 12 hours for somebody who is really in shape. And he makes a fan-based video to Nike, the biggest sports company on the planet. And when he shows this image of him being overweight and then he running an Ironman with his friend, the whole Nike campus flips out. And he makes a fan-based video, sends it to Nike. At the end of the video says, insert Nike logo here. And that video, Dream Crazier, was so, Nike got so inspired to make a new video out of his story, to make a video about incredible stories. And the Nike ad that came out of it was one of the biggest Nike ads, videos in the last years. Over 30 million views right now. And guess what? This 300 pounds guy who always wanted to be an athlete and never really got anything to do with sports, never had a girlfriend to this point where he was this big. He, within a couple of years, got in a Nike Sport, the biggest sports company on the planet, and in that Nike Sport is this Charlie, there is Serena Williams, there is LeBron James, and there is Bolt and many other sportsmen. And here's in one of the biggest Nike ad campaigns, and all he had was an idea that he never acted on. He never acted on being an athlete. And then when he was confronted with death, a friend told him, I can't see you like this. I'm not talking about the brain tumor. I'm not talking about you being overweight. I'm talking about you being heavily depressed by being overweight. So I go on a journey with you now, and we lose that weight by choosing a superpower, and you will be a hero for many. And you will not be Charlie with your last name that you have. You create a new persona. And that persona has a different name. So his name is Charlie Rocket now. And Charlie Rocket is this athlete. And after the Ironman, he and his friend, they decided, what else can we do? Let's take the bike. Let's ride from the one side of America to the other side of America. From New York to LA. How many miles? What, 3,000? How many kilometers? What, 5,000 kilometers? Let's take a bike. Let's ride from the one side to the other side. And on that journey, let's make people's dreams real. What if Charlie didn't have that coach with him all the time? What if Alan didn't reach out to me? Which, it's not important that it's me, it's just important that he reached out to someone who could help him. What if I don't reach out to somebody helping me with the book? Will I ever write it? Maybe not. If I haven't done it in 6 years now, maybe I won't. Maybe if I reach out now to someone, maybe today in 1 year the book is done. If one book is done, many will follow. That's the truth. If you get to photograph one person on the street, many will follow. Many photo shoots. If you get to run 10 miles, you get to do it again. What area is important to you in which you haven't acted, although it is important to you? Write it down in the comments below. And is there someone you know that can help you with it? And why haven't you reached out to him? That's the question that I leave you with. Please answer it in the comments below. Thank you very much and see you soon.